Now, this is going to be the 12 villager rule start, so no castles allowed. Of course, they picked 2 civs that like to build castles. Chinese and Delhi. On a map that has felt quite dominant for the Delhi, actually. We've seen them thrive here on Canal. Chinese definitely one of the civs that could potentially catch a lot of traction now that we're into rounds that allow castles and possibly later phases of the game as a result of that, especially considering they're able to build fishing boats quicker. But definitely a map that overall still kind of favors Delhi with their ability to get fishing boats that attack out. That's why you're going to see him instantly move out with his villager, right? He needs to get this dock up and online before first fishing boat comes out that could kill him. Remember, they hit for 7 damage each, so it would gradually pepper you down. I still do not know the identity of 2111, so if anyone knows who this person is, be sure to let me know. I'm curious. Haven't seen enough gameplay yet to really kind of give a feel on based on playstyle who it would be. But we saw a pretty impressive game between them and Leenock just before this one. I'll definitely be out there on the YouTube side. First of all, I'm curious to see what Leenock's opening is going to be. Obviously, it's going to be on delay because we are playing on a water hybrid map, which is why I'm going to actually speed up a little bit. Because typically these openings, when you play water hybrid on Canal, there's a few civs that get ultra aggressive. Delhi Chinese, I wouldn't expect it unless someone wants to try and sneak an outpost. There does need to be a wall placement coming soon, though, and I'd expect it to be 21. Yeah. He has to do it first. Because for Leenock, he's happy to keep this open because, you know, you can just push out these fishing boats that attack. It's more important for 21 to get it up. Crazy part is actually Leenock, if he'd had a scout around the area, he might have realized he could have made a dive for that, possibly before the wall goes up. But 21, playing as a Chinese, was able to do it on a delay as well, as they're able to build those walls quicker. Not just the walls, it's the fishing boats that are going to build quicker. It's kind of crazy how much of a difference this adds up to. And by the way, it's why I believe we saw Leenock bring 2 villagers out here. You're up against the Chinese. Their build speed with 1 villager is better than what you get with 2 villagers. They're still going to complete it first. Then on top of that, from their dock, they're going to push fishing boats every 20 seconds instead of 25. So naturally, even just a few fishing boats in, you're going to see a Chinese player have a lead of 1, possibly even 2 fishing boats. In fact, right now, it's 6 compared to 5. I'm kind of impressed that Leenock isn't further behind. He's going to be going up the Dome of Faith. Glad to see this. This is kind of indicative of Castle Age Rush type build. Definitely someone that's feasible on a map like this where you should be getting your fishing for free. Feels like it's a lot harder for a Chinese player to kill off your fishing than you to kill off theirs. But I think Leenock's goal in this game is probably to hit Castle Age as quickly as possible, because then you can get into the Combat of the Defender. With this stone outcropping, you can build 2 castles. Well, you can drop one over here near like the deer location, an extra stone, another one north on the wood, and all of a sudden you have your mid-game secure. It's something that Chinese players won't deal with well because how would they, right? Then most natural play in that situation is to go castle as well and push Palace Guard. Sure, those units can get past the castles, but they can't breach them. Fish, and more fish though. Already now 2 fishing boat advantage for 2111. Now the outpost coming out from Leenock, trying to skew the sacred sites. Extra little bit of cheddar in the pocket. 21 is going to be going in for the Horsemen. Love the Barbican placement as well. That's going to lock them in for the Song Dynasty. Interesting they brought 3 villagers out here. Typically this type of play, we might just see 1 villager come out. So you have extra eco at home, which would, of course, by now have given him an extra Horseman. Excellent play here from 21 as well. Horseman plus the Scout just to burn this down. Gonna start forcing the garrison. We'll try to address the villagers, but not quite enough horsemen. Looks like 21 might struggle to torch this one. The villagers completely clutch with the repairs, but the extra horsemen coming in, they should get rid of the defense, and that means the villagers are also going to be exposed. Elite will try to retreat away. Leenock, who is now building a defense force of horsemen and spears. And this is a great play by 21. 21 has essentially forced Leenock to react to their play. We'll slow this down now because we're a few minutes in, right? We're starting to get action. But Leenock's original intent was very clearly, I'm just going to kind of float this idea of going up fast. Capture a Sacred Site for free, go Castle Age. Should be the comfortable phase for the Delhi. Because 21, instead of being a greedy mother ducker like so many Chinese players are, decided to double down on Horsemen, Leenock is now forced to play Prolonged Feudal. It's an interesting play, one that maybe he didn't fully anticipate, because typically, you know, even with the nerfs to Delhi, a lot of people still give them this face value as a good feudal aggressor. Meanwhile, Chinese, if they're not willing to go Chugi Nu, probably have to bow down and play a bit more turtly. But not this boy in green. Oh no. He just decided to send it. Send it straight to the base. This is a little bit dangerous in that if Leenox sees this, he could just idle his eco at home and torch the dock afar. I think he's just not in position for this. Nah, the Horsemen, Spearmen, they're just guarding the Sacred Site, so instead it should just be some idle time, and 21 not really paying a price for it. 2111. Oh, he sees the villagers too. These do have textiles, so they will not die too quickly. The Horseman Spearman reaction on point, so Lee keeps his idle time to a minimum. Keeps 21 dancing. 2111, who is out on those deer. He's continuing to push just the Spearmen and the horses. So. Adding in Spears is going to up his price a little bit, but compared to what the Delhi player is investing, it's less. The problem is the Delhi player is getting more, right? Like military-wise, he wants to flex like this because he can transition that into Sacred Site control. So instead of just being the situation where you got baited and lost out because your opponent could maybe tech up ahead, you should be able to get similar timing if you get that passive gold trickling. She's working on now. We talked about the Barbican for the deer. We should have mentioned this as well. The Sacred Site placement makes this an absolute nuisance. And Leenock, oh dude, 21 got the perfect placement. There's no way you can stand on the Sacred Site that you wouldn't lose the Scholar. And folks, he never capped that. So that's just a hard loss. Is admittedly only half price at 65 gold, but slow to replace, taking 45 seconds each. 2111, that was in a position to tech up ahead if he had more people in gold, but only one meant that actually Leenock is going to get a better cast range timing than 2111 is. Especially considering that 2111 got a little bit gluttonous by going for the secondary town center. Battle Defender is now on the way for Leenock, so we'll have the potential castles, and you see he's already prepped the mining camp afterwards, so he will just surge onto that. And because he went for this Combat Defender with Dome of Faith build, he should have enough Scholars to just get a really good tech rate going so that he can unlock Village Fortresses in the next 3 or 4 minutes. Flash in the meantime. 2111 with a clear number advantage, just trying to get those decaps going. Notice that Leenock, well, he's prepping for something else. Sacred Site's captured, and then he wants to get straight into those relics. Might be forced to take a defensive fight here, though, because, you know, 2111 should actually see what's happening south side and peel to play for that the moment he torches through. Just leave one Spearman here. Actually, he might have to leave more, because there is a Scholar. Camouflaging as a pillar here. He doesn't know. Oh my god, he actually doesn't know. Oh, 2111, come on. No. I'm just a pillar. I'm just a pillar. I'm just a pillar. A pillar of my community. No, a pillar. I'm not of the community. I'm just a pillar. If the British were here, they'd steal me and take me far away and then return me several years later. Yep, that was a comment about us stealing from the Greeks. Finally, he realizes and will start attacking it, though. Dive into the base to try and punish Leenock. Tech up is complete on the other side. So 2111 going up with the Imperial Palace. Plenty of vision now in the air. Check the eyes on this beauty. Why is my vision not working? Vision? My vision's broken, guys. This is good. There we go. Not bad. Kind of sees everything coming. Well, you used to when he's on the aggression like this. And Leenock still does have 2 Sacred Sites, though. We'll start picking up relics. It's not bad for him. A bad fight here for 2111 to be taken, though. It's just Spears and Horsemen. More Spears for Leenock, though. He is at a disadvantage in terms of tech, but the Archer's mixed in. This is just going to be a one-sided affair. Expensive fight for the green player to be taken. Horsemen going to come over the top. Meanwhile, Men-at-Arms and Lancers are prep and defend against this cheap retinue in his base. Really, this is where Leenock needs to get in and do some damage. I like his move towards the fishing. Fishing is unguarded here. He could easily torch down these fishing boats with this many cavalry units. Instead, he's going to run into death. Alrighty then. He's trying to get in before the walls go up. Even if you do get in now, with such a limited force, I don't think you can do much damage here. 2111 has kind of just set the border in place. Meanwhile, the melee mosh pit. Boys are getting slapped around by about 1 million spears. I feel like I'm playing that game. What's the game? Is it Kaplunk with all the sticks? Watching men-at-arms be attacked by spears is like watching Kaplunk. There's all these spears just being stuck through. I think Leenock is kind of getting ahead of himself in several areas, right? The raiding attempt, now the Skull's moving out. He's trying to do maybe 1 or 2 extra things than he should be at this phase. I'm also a bit worried about the way he's taking these fights. Like, if he just waited, if he delayed his timing, you know, if you think about the troops he lost plus these ones, this fight would kind of be over in his favor. Instead, 2111 with these cheap, crap throwaway units is still getting decent value before they die. Leenock has done a lap. Final lap they'll be able to do, though. Finally, he does move in to burn down the dock. 1 more junk was all that got out, so good play there, but now backup dock placed by 2111 on the safe side of the bank. I'm worried the pass guard is going to begin to surge out here. Keep drop. That could save Leenock. Leenock, I think this is his first castle coming out. We've been waiting for this. He'll secure gold and stone close to his opponent's base if he can get it up. It's been pass guard on the way, and it's going to be an immediate cancel. All that idle time for nothing. Leenock, he got a little bit too cocky here. He felt that he could take this fight. He felt that maybe 2111 wouldn't be coming over the top this many troops, but now 20 villagers have just wasted all this time. And you are already close to doubled up when it comes to eco count. Let me put this another way, folks. This is almost half of Leenock's total economy that is doing Sir Mo's lap of London here. He's just going around doing nothing with him. He'll at least back up for a safe keep, but you have to question why not this to start with. Especially considering how exposed and not safe his flanks are. Especially considering Village Fortresses was now completing. It's definitely costly. I start to feel like the Chinese are getting full control of this game. I mean, Leenock, he's had 2 sacred sites at any given time, but that doesn't feel good enough to ever cut it. The way that 21 played this north side was brilliant as well. He always ensured that he had a higher ceiling because the threat of a sacred site timer never could tick in due to this Barbican placement. I just love this detail. And this is, you know, something that's been perplexing for a lot of players is how do you play Canal and how do you get out of that initial phase? We've seen a lot of players rush pocket ecos out on the flanks and then fall victim to raids. 2111 has shown you a way with the Chinese to kind of flex your way onto a flank and protect it, layer it naturally in a way that doesn't feel forced. Just great reads, and now it gives him all the space he needs to transition from fish into crops. The transition we're still waiting to see come out from Leenock. He will be forced to do it eventually. I think actually he's got 1 extra berry patch after these deer and that's it. Nothing else will be safe for him. Now, if he does keep building castles, he does have the expenditure of extra villages to throw away on pocket ecos that are risky. But even if you look for risky ones, folks, you know, no haram, no boar, there's nothing. If you don't want to go piggy here, there are no other food sources in the mid-map for you to exploit. So you're going to have to make a farm transition if you're Leenock. I do like the Stonewall attempt here, actually. If he Stonewalls here, he can Magano line the south side and create farms around the castles. Not necessarily going to be something he gets to do for free, though. People Fury crafting Delhi Imperial Age? I'm not so sure. I think it just might be the elephants he's trying to pump. If he's thinking Imperial Age, it's more his paranoia around what 2111 is going to do. 2111 can't get in. The irony of using stone walls against the Chinese. They say you're the barbarians. You stay out, sir. 2111 will have to reset and think anew. Doesn't have access to siege engineering, so no ramification coming. But he does still have access on the south side. It's a mighty big sum of infantry lads making their way in. Wasting a lot of time with the men-at-arms, though. Doesn't really want to chase one of the crossbows, they'll just start a step away. The whole point is these are cheap spears thrown away. 2111's just keeping his opponent on the backside. And I'm starting to wonder what we're rallying up here for, boys. Rallying for a rave. If you had siege engineering being researched, this would be a good play. It's not a terrible one, though. It just feels weird to idle your entire army. The reason he's up here is to block an expansion. Because it's the berries. He doesn't want to give over. So I kind of understand why he's here, but I don't understand why this many troops are here. Like, this is basically the entire army, more or less. There's small clusters elsewhere, but this is the main bulk. Oh. Oh, wait. Hello there. I actually think this goes up. He needs to be fast, though. He hasn't got textiles, so maybe it doesn't actually. Oh, wow. 21-11. This gluttonous play with textiles might work, but he can't even start the build. That's just going to be several villagers dead for nothing. Great time by Leenock. 21-11, want to try beat him to the punchline. I love what 21-11 is attempting here. Between the berry patch on the north and the stone outcropping, and now this place south, his goal is to restrict the village fortresses build from Leenock. But sadly, because he went up here unguarded, because he didn't send any troops ahead of time, he'll get nothing for it. And now Leenock gets the opportunity to be the offensive party. Folks, typical Chinese player trying to keep drop. Didn't take his own stone outcropping, so now Leenock is going to be able to munch that up as well. Leenock, who is starting to amass the elephants, 2 of them so far. He needs to be careful with the amount of spears he's facing off against. That castle cannot be stopped, so Leenock took a bit of patience, took a bit of time, but finally starting to crawl his way out of the base and across the 21-11 side of the map. 21-11, who has finally breached the wall in the north. He's going in, but like I don't really know what you're going to go in on. It's got 17 Palscar to work with. Most of the economy is not here anymore. Ignore these guys, they don't exist. Leenock, oh, come on. He'll get the pinch from the War Elephant, but my God, is he beefy. Only 8 spearmen here. This is not a fight that's going his way. And Leenock, do it. Re-wall and get on the other side. I dare you. 21-11 will finally get through the elephant, but it's a mighty high price he's paying. The only good news for him is that Leenock still has got a third of his economy not working. Okay, he heard me. They're on the move. In some ways, I feel like 21 done Leenock a favor. Maybe he wouldn't have noticed that otherwise. And now Leenock will get eco-efficient again, while now taking better trades on the other side of the map. He's even set up farms in the area. I love the irony. It's just like 2 kids bragging about what they can do and then each try to outdo the other. 21-11, try for the aggro keep drop into a yoink of resources. And Leenock says, I can do one better. Not only am I going to keep drop and yoink your resources, but then I now have a 4 TC to exploit them at a faster rate than you would have anyway. Oh, we're close to done, I think. 21. Trying to get the defensive keep up. It should come up in time, but a lot of ground has been forfeited here. The north side is their one redeeming quality, but no trade happening in this game. So, you know, long-term, gold may become a painful factor for them. Meanwhile, Leenock feels like he's got all the gold in the world. 2 sacred sites, as the Delhi, 4 relics picked up already. Castle is probably going to stop Leenock in his tracks for the moment. But all I see is kind of weaknesses elsewhere. 21-11 did actually manage to sneak out on the flank for a fat stack of gold, so well played to them there. But now all I really see is, you know, I see 4 TCs versus 2.6 now after reductions? Oh, 2.5, sorry. That's not good. Because although 21-11 will keep the lead up to eco cap, Leenock will be there alongside him at this rate. And Leenock is starting to just look stronger and stronger. Like, the army is the really big difference here that matters. Especially when the additional army sneaks in like this. Now, Leenock might not kill that many villagers, or he shouldn't, but he'll stay here for a while. And that's the big problem for 21-11. Because this is now an arms race, so you get military pop capped as quickly as possible. An arms race that it's very difficult to see a world in which Leenock doesn't win. I think 21-11 is kind of stripped of options now, right? Like, when you see this many castles going up, when these ecos are protected this way, you can't play horsemen like you normally would. This is one of the big frustrations about this Delhi build compared to most other Civs' way of playing this game, where a lot of Civs would be kind of punishable by flank attacks from this sort of style of play. The Delhi are not. Because you can see, their farmlands just get set up around keeps. They're very, very safe. Not many Civs can brag this level of protection. And it means that 2111 has to take a direct fight to really do anything. He needs Siege as well to do anything. And Siege is not going to be cheap here. You know, Treb's costing you 750 resources each. The fact he needs Nesta Beast to deal with a clump, it's going to drain him. He has got enough wood to afford this in the time being, but he is running out fast. He's actually very lucky that he hasn't been spotted on the south side yet. In fact, it feels like the type of area that Leenox should have scouted, but he's tunnel vision into the funnel point. And I love the fact that Leenox sets up this keep. So he's a little bit paranoid that trade might be happening. He discovers that it's not. Maybe he thinks about going it for himself, but I think for the Delhi, like between the passive income you have and the gold veins you have access to, it's probably not imperative that you get trade going yourself. In fact, they're both more or less mirroring these type of keep moves that block out any trade opportunity in the future. Leenox, the tricky little Leanoctopus. Absolute pain in the ass, these type of things. I wonder at what point 2111 wishes that he got textiles. It has to be now, right? You've lost over 40 villages in this game. I truly wish he had had textiles. I think if textiles was there, maybe he could have been more aggro of some of the keep attempts as well. Both armies have been reduced heavily, but that trade was 10 times better for Leenox than it should have been. 3 heavily injured lads that look like they're on their last breath, that look like they're actually leaking blood all over the place, somehow managed to take out almost 3 siege units. And that's important, by the way. That siege being taken out slows down the breach time here. So Leenox will be able to harvest for longer before he's really threatened. It's problematic because remember, these resources that Leenox is harvesting, they're not his resources. Well, they are. He staked his claim, but technically, if we talk about the start of the game and then line down the center, these resources were what 2111 was meant to have. Although 2111 has blocked out some resources similarly on the other side of the map, the big difference is because these outposts got placed by Leenox, 2111 can't yoink this. Remember, we talked about how gold's going to become a limiting factor. Both of them want and need it. Now, I'm a bit worried that Leenox, yeah, he started to set up the 4 siege workshops. I'd love to see him just layer in some Raxes or stables up here as well. At that stage, this becomes very difficult because 2111 has been holding off the basis that he's the defender. So he has that production advantage. But if you get that forward base set up, that's no longer going to be the case. With the amount of wood he's extracting from this center area, he can definitely afford it. I'm curious as well. People in chat. 1's if you think Leenox is going to win this. 2 if you have faith in 2111. I feel like we're past the point where maybe it's hard to decipher that. As in, it feels a bit obvious now. But maybe the Chinese can pull someone out with mass Nesta Beast. We've seen it be pretty brutal in the past. Flash in center. Okay, no, scrap that. Nesta Beast just got thrown away. Springles are going to start sniping them out. I mean, that's just freebies. And the mass rams being produced. The body blocks alone are actually causing damage to 2111 here. He's not taking out the units that are killing him. Now the Nesta Bees, what's left of them, forced to retreat. 2111, I mean, this dive will do some damage, but I doubt it's going to do enough. And the mass ram shuffle's on the way. A massacre of several villages on their retreat, but I don't know, man. Nesta Bees, they can take out rams, but this is just the beginning of a tide of exactly that, I think. Crossbows held in the end. The pass guard more or less cleaned up, and now Elephant's coming in. 2111, he threw a lot of that, and I don't really think he got much out of it. Look at the destroyed value in this game. Leenox, 37, almost 38,000. 2111 is 10,000 behind. The lesson here is if you want to really kill this castle, bring more rams. Although, make sure you replace all the lost troops to defend it, because that's going to be a problem. And it looks so good with the Nesta Bees as well. 2111, I think if he's not body blocked by all those rams, the Nesta Bees don't just get thrown away due to the Springalds, it's probably a good fight for him. But whether intentional or not, Leenock with those rams caused so many issues. It caused so much congestion, so much traffic in the fight, that it felt almost impossible for 2111 to flesh out and fully utilize his melee bomb. These rams trying to make their way through the castle. I'm not even sure they're going to get it, because the Mangonels, remember, they do siege damage. That means that this ranged armor has no effect. Leenock, he might think about repairing, he might just think about building another castle behind this. Repairs underway. Mangos have failed at their duty. And the Scholar healing as well. Wow, from Leenock. Tech up does come out from 2111 though. Can they make this happen? I know some people rooting for the Delhi. The Chinese have reached their late game. It has to be said that Leenock has not. He's got a hard stuck here. He's got a lot of gold, not much food. Part of his farm's just gone, part of them haven't been set up, and part of them are just being hindered by the castle drops on the flank from 2111. I mean, 2111 has done a phenomenal job on these flanks. It's got to be highlighted here. Like, the way that he played north and south side is why he's now ahead. And the Nesta Bees massacre commences. A 50 villager advantage. Military all but dead on both sides, but 2111 now reaching his full potential is enough to get the white flag waving. Leenock calls GG.